New Mexico is usually reduced to two lazy extremes: postcard beauty or crime headline chaos. That story is incomplete. The truth is quieter, stranger, and far more interesting. Scattered across this state are towns where the math still works, where safety isn't a marketing slogan, and where daily life hasn't been crushed by noise, debt, or desperation. These are places people don't argue about online because they're too busy living in them. No hype, no fantasy, just towns that quietly figured it out. Number 10. Corrales. Corrales, New Mexico sits out on the eastern plains where the sky feels oversized and life moves at a steadier, more predictable speed. This is a college town without college town chaos, anchored by Eastern New Mexico University, which quietly shapes the culture, economy, and daily rhythm of the place. The population hovers around 12,000 people, and most days feel exactly that size. Big enough to function, small enough to breathe. Daily life here is practical. People work, run errands, wave at each other in parking lots, and actually mean it. Homes are mostly single-story, spread-out ranch styles, with yards that still exist for reasons other than decoration. Housing costs are one of Corrales' biggest strengths. Median home prices sit around $160,000, and rents often land between $700 and $900, well below state and national averages. The overall cost of living runs roughly 15% lower than the US average, which gives regular paychecks real breathing room. The economy is steady, not flashy. Education, healthcare, agriculture, and local services keep the town running. Jobs tied to the university, the hospital, and surrounding dairy operations provide stability rather than explosive growth. Median household income comes in near $47,000, which sounds modest until you realize bills here don't hunt you for sport. People aren't rich, but they're not constantly panicking either. Outdoor life is simple and honest. You're not hiking alpine peaks, but open plains, quiet roads, and wide sunsets dominate the landscape. Crime stays relatively low for New Mexico, with violent crime rates well below state averages, though property crime still exists if you get careless. Schools benefit from the university presence, healthcare is anchored by Roswell General Hospital, and retirees appreciate the calm pace and low costs. Weather is dry, windy, and honest about it. Summers hit the 90s, winters are mild, and snow is more novelty than burden. Dining and entertainment won't blow anyone away, but local diners, Mexican spots, and Friday night games do the job. Corrales isn't chasing excitement. It's offering stability, affordability, and quiet consistency, and for the right person, that's more than enough. Calm living still wins. Number 9. Artesia. Artesia. New Mexico doesn't announce itself loudly, and that's part of why it works. With roughly 12,000 residents, this southeastern town runs on routine, work ethic, and a quiet confidence built around energy jobs and long-standing community ties. People here tend to know where they're going, what they do for a living, and who they'll see at the grocery store later. Daily life feels structured. Mornings start early, trucks outnumber sedans, and schedules matter. Homes are mostly single-story brick or stucco houses with driveways, garages, and yards that still get used. Median home prices sit near $185,000, and rents commonly range from $800 to $1,000. The overall cost of living is about 8% below the national average, which helps incomes stretch further than the raw numbers suggest. Artesia's economy is the engine. Oil, gas, and support services dominate employment, and that reality shows up in paychecks. Median household income pushes past $60,000, noticeably higher than much of New Mexico. Jobs aren't glamorous, but they're steady, and unemployment typically stays below state averages. The trade-off is boom and bust sensitivity, something locals understand and plan around. Safety here is better than outsiders expect. Violent crime runs lower than many New Mexico cities, though property crime still exists if doors get left unlocked. Schools are solid by state standards, healthcare is anchored by Artesia General Hospital, and specialists are usually a short drive away in larger cities. Outdoor life leans practical rather than postcard. Wide open land, quiet roads, and nearby lakes support fishing, hunting, and weekend escapes without crowds. Weather is dry and blunt. Summers climb past 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Winters are mild, and wind shows up uninvited. Dining and entertainment are simple. Local steakhouses, Mexican restaurants, and high school sports carry social life. Retirees appreciate the affordability, medical access, and calm pace, though nightlife seekers may feel bored. Artesia isn't trendy. It's functional, well-paid, and predictable, which for many people feels like a luxury now. Community events, churches, youth programs, and volunteer groups keep social ties tight, even when oil prices wobble and the town collectively exhales, waits, and keeps moving forward together without panic. Number 8. Los Alamos. Los Alamos feels engineered rather than accidental. With about 13,000 residents perched at 7,300 feet, this mountain town runs on schedules, credentials, and quiet confidence. People here are scientists, engineers, technicians, teachers, and the support workers who keep a precision machine humming. Daily life is calm but intentional. Mornings start early, trails fill before work, and nobody seems surprised by homework that involves calculus. Homes are tidy, compact, and expensive. Median home prices hover near $450,000. Rents often top $1,400, and the cost of living sits roughly 24% above the New Mexico average. Groceries, utilities, and childcare reflect the same reality. You're paying for safety, infrastructure, and neighbors who alphabetize their recycling. The local economy revolves around Los Alamos National Laboratory, where average salaries exceed $90,000 and stable employment offsets sticker shock, even if promotions quietly reset the housing market. Outdoor life is where stress evaporates. Hundreds of miles of trails, ski slopes nearby, and elk wandering through neighborhoods make exercise feel mandatory. Crime is almost boringly low. Violent crime rates sit more than 70% below national averages, and the biggest neighborhood alert is usually a bear sighting with attitude. Schools rank among the best in the state, feeding directly into science programs, while healthcare is solid locally with advanced care reachable in Santa Fe. Weather is crisp and dramatic. Summers stay mild, winters bring snow, and elevation keeps seasons honest. Dining is limited but competent, favoring cafes and breweries over nightlife excess. Entertainment leans intellectual, lectures, concerts, and community events rather than late nights. Retirees who land here value safety, scenery, and stimulation, though fixed incomes feel the squeeze. Los Alamos isn't cheap or flashy. It's orderly, secure, demanding, and quietly exceptional for people who prefer brains, trails, and peace over bargains. Community life remains tight, volunteer-driven, and welcoming, with libraries, youth sports, and seasonal festivals creating social gravity that compensates for isolation, higher prices, and limited retail choices while reinforcing a shared expectation that everyone contributes, behaves responsibly, and respects the landscape. Number 7. Roswell. Roswell carries a reputation that usually gets a laugh before it gets taken seriously. But underneath the alien murals and UFO jokes is a city of about 48,000 people quietly living very normal lives. This is not a novelty town for locals. It's a functioning regional hub where daily life revolves around work schedules, school pickups, and weekend errands, not conspiracy theories. People here are practical, grounded, and far less strange than the souvenirs suggest. Housing is one of Roswell's strongest advantages. Median home prices sit near $170,000, and rents often land between $750 and $1,000. The overall cost of living is roughly 9% below the New Mexico average and about 15% under the national benchmark. That affordability matters because wages, while not massive, go further. Median household income is around $52,000, supported by healthcare, government, agriculture, and regional services. Jobs are steady rather than explosive, which keeps volatility low. Crime surprises outsiders. While property crime exists, violent crime rates remain lower than many cities of similar size in the state. Most residents go about their routines without constant concern. Schools are solid. Healthcare is anchored by Eastern New Mexico Medical Center, and specialists are accessible without leaving town. Retirees appreciate the combination of affordability, medical access, and mild winters that rarely dip below freezing. Outdoor life is built around space. Wide open skies, nearby lakes, and desert trails offer fishing, walking, and quiet escapes. Summers are hot, often reaching 95 degrees Fahrenheit, but winters stay mild and manageable. Dining and entertainment balance everyday comfort with tourist flavor. Local Mexican restaurants, steakhouses, breweries, and community events keep social life active without overwhelming the city. Roswell isn't a gimmick once you live there. It's affordable, functional, and quietly stable, with just enough weirdness to keep things interesting. Number 6. Aztec. Aztec. New Mexico feels like a town that values calm over noise. With a population just over 6,000, this northern community moves at a pace where people still notice each other. Daily life is predictable in the best way. Mornings are quiet, traffic is light, and routines actually stick. Residents tend to be families, retirees, and workers commuting short distances to nearby Farmington. Housing remains approachable. Median home prices hover around $200,000, rents often range from $700 to $950, and the cost of living sits about 5% below the New Mexico average. Incomes aren't flashy, with median household earnings near $48,000, but expenses don't feel predatory. That balance gives people room to breathe instead of constantly recalculating budgets. The local economy leans on education, healthcare, energy support services, and small businesses. Jobs are stable, not trendy, and unemployment typically tracks lower than many rural towns. Crime is one of Aztec's quiet strengths. Violent crime rates stay well below state averages, and safety rarely dominates conversation. Schools benefit from community involvement, healthcare needs are met locally, and larger hospitals are close enough to matter. Outdoor life is woven into daily routine. The Alamos River, nearby trails, and open land support fishing, walking, and weekend escapes without crowds. Weather brings 4 real seasons. Summers stay warm, winters are cooler than southern New Mexico, and snow appears just often enough to be noticed. Dining and entertainment are modest but reliable, focusing on local diners, family restaurants, and school events. Retirees appreciate the low stress, affordability, and strong community ties. Aztec doesn't chase excitement. It offers steadiness, safety, and a life that feels manageable, which is increasingly rare. Number 5. Corrales. Corrales feels like a town that politely declined modern chaos and never returned the call. With about 8,300 residents tucked between Albuquerque and Rio Rancho, it attracts people who want access without exposure. Daily life here is intentionally slow. Horses still use the roads, dirt lanes still exist by design, and nobody is rushing unless a farmer's market is about to close. The people tend to be professionals, creatives, retirees, and longtime locals who fiercely protect the village's rural character. Homes sit on large lots, often adobe or stucco, with gardens, vineyards, and open space that feels out of place this close to a metro. Median home prices hover around $520,000, and the cost of living runs roughly 35 to 40% higher than the New Mexico average. That sticker shock is softened by income. Median household earnings sit near $85,000, largely driven by nearby professional and medical jobs. This is not a bargain town, it's a premium version of quiet. Crime is almost a non-topic. Violent crime rates are more than 70% below national averages, and safety rarely enters daily conversation. Education performs well by state standards, and healthcare access is excellent through Albuquerque's hospital network. Retirees love the calm, though fixed incomes can feel squeezed. Outdoor life defines Corrales. Biking, walking, river access, and open skies shape routines. Weather stays mild, with warm summers, cool evenings, and minimal snow. Dining favors local cafes and upscale spots rather than chains, while entertainment is subtle and community-centered. Corrales doesn't entertain chaos or rapid growth. It offers control, calm, and space, and it charges accordingly. Number 4. Raton. Raton sits near the Colorado border with the confidence of a town that stopped trying to impress anyone years ago. With fewer than 6,500 residents, daily life here feels stretched out and unhurried. People value quiet mornings, predictable routines, and evenings that don't involve noise or crowds. It's a place chosen intentionally by those who want less stimulation and more peace. Housing is one of Raton's biggest strengths. Median home prices sit near $140,000, rents often fall below $800, and the cost of living runs about 6% lower than the New Mexico average. Median household income hovers around $43,000, which works because expenses stay manageable. Jobs come from healthcare, education, rail history, and local services. Growth is limited, but stability matters more here than ambition. Crime stays relatively low, well under state averages, and safety blends into the background of daily life. Schools are small and community-focused, healthcare is basic but reliable, and retirees appreciate affordability paired with cooler summers. Outdoor life leans toward open land, quiet drives, and nearby mountains rather than curated attractions. Weather brings 4 real seasons. Winters include snow, summers stay cooler than southern New Mexico, and spring winds remind you where you live. Dining and entertainment remain modest, cantered on diners, local spots, and community events. Raton isn't flashy or trendy. It's calm, affordable, and predictable, offering something increasingly rare: uninterrupted sleep and low stress. Number 3. Edgewood. Edgewood lives in the space between town and open land, sitting east of Albuquerque with about 6,000 residents who prioritize room and quiet. Daily life revolves around driving, wide skies, and schedules free from congestion. The people here are families, retirees, and professionals who wanted out-of-city pressure without cutting ties completely. Homes are newer, spread out, and often sit on larger lots. Median home prices land around $310,000, and the cost of living runs roughly 5% above the New Mexico average. Median household income sits near $65,000, supported by commuting jobs, trades, and small businesses. Crime rates are about 20 to 25% lower than national averages, making safety one of Edgewood's strongest selling points. Education is solid for a town its size, while healthcare access relies heavily on Albuquerque. Retirees appreciate the calm, space, and proximity to services without daily urban friction. Outdoor life is constant. Walking, biking, and open land living shape routines more than nightlife ever could. Weather brings sunny summers, cool evenings, and occasional winter snow. Dining and entertainment remain simple, favoring local restaurants, home gatherings, and community events. Edgewood doesn't chase excitement. It offers space, predictability, and reduced stress, which for many people feels like a serious upgrade. Number 2. Farmington. Farmington, New Mexico is not a town that tries to charm you at first glance. It wins people over slowly through reliability, routine, and a sense that life here actually functions. With roughly 46,000 residents, Farmington serves as the economic anchor of northwestern New Mexico. The people are workers, families, healthcare staff, energy employees, and retirees who value stability over spectacle. Daily life runs on schedules. Commutes are reasonable, errands are predictable, and weekends revolve around family, sports, or the outdoors. Homes are mostly single-story, practical, and attainable by modern standards. Median home prices sit near $240,000, while rents often fall between $900 and $1,200. The overall cost of living runs about 6% lower than the New Mexico average, which matters. Farmington's economy is diverse for a mid-sized city. Healthcare, education, energy, government services, and regional retail keep paychecks consistent. Median household income lands near $55,000, and employment remains steadier than many towns nearby. The trade-off is that growth feels practical, not exciting, and nightlife never pretends otherwise. Outdoor life is a major draw. Rivers, trails, desert mesas, and nearby national parks shape weekends and daily habits. Crime exists, but it's manageable. Violent crime rates sit below many New Mexico cities, while property crime requires basic awareness. Schools perform solidly by state standards, and San Juan Regional Medical Center provides reliable healthcare access. Retirees appreciate Farmington's balance. Services are close, winters are manageable, and costs don't punish fixed incomes. Weather brings hot summers near 95 degrees, cooler evenings, and mild winters with occasional snow. Dining and entertainment stay grounded. Local restaurants, breweries, high school sports, and community events replace big city excess. Farmington isn't flashy, trendy, or delicate. It's functional, resilient, and honest about what it offers. For people who want affordability, infrastructure, outdoor access, and a city that shows up every morning ready to work, Farmington delivers without drama. Community ties remain strong, volunteer-driven, and visible, reinforcing trust, familiarity, and a shared expectation that neighbors look out for each other. Number 1. Silver City. Silver City, New Mexico feels like a town that chose character over convenience and never apologized for it. With about 10,000 residents, it blends artists, retirees, professors, nurses, and outdoorsy types into a community that feels intentional rather than accidental. Daily life moves slower here, but not sleepy. Coffee shops open early, conversations run long, and nobody seems shocked by a weekday hike. Homes range from historic miners' cottages to modest ranch houses. Median home prices sit near $220,000, and rents commonly fall between $800 and $1,100. The cost of living runs roughly 7% below the national average, which helps offset incomes that average around $48,000 per household. People aren't getting rich, but bills don't dominate every decision. The local economy leans on healthcare, education, tourism, and remote work. GLIA Regional Medical Center and Western New Mexico University anchor employment, while small businesses quietly carry the rest. Jobs are stable rather than explosive, and that predictability shapes expectations. Outdoor life is the headline act. Silver City sits near the Gila Wilderness, offering trails, rivers, and elevation that keep summers cooler than most of New Mexico. Crime is lower than many expect, with violent crime rates below state averages, though property crime still rewards common sense. Schools perform well for a town this size, and healthcare access is solid without constant long drives. Weather stays mild. Summers hover in the 80s, winters are cool but manageable, and snow is occasional rather than relentless. Dining and entertainment punch above their weight with local cafes, breweries, art walks, and live music. Retirees value the climate, culture, and walkability, even if limited shopping and distance from major airports test patience. Silver City isn't polished or fast. It's creative, livable, and quietly confident, offering space to breathe, think, and live without constant pressure daily today.